organic makeup. I'm still kind of curious as to what organic really means.
The product sucks. And it's July. I was looking at the list of ingredients.
All the makeup I've had put on me in television, I don't know if that's part of what caused my cancer. It might be. These are things we come into contact with every single day. You can put a drop in a bucket for 40 years. And I was 42 when I got cancer.
Well, I don't want to diss Jill because, she's very honest about what she does. She's honestly mistaken. And one of the most important things in life is knowing what to worry about. Environmental groups have agendas, just like companies have agendas. And they also need to raise money. And their agenda basically is to keep fears alive.
So my name's Gracie. I just graduated from theater school a year ago, worked part-time at a bakery, and I've been auditioning a lot and doing little short films here and there to try to lay down the foundation for myself as an actor in Toronto. So this is my apartment. You guys can come on in and take a look at what makeup I have. A friend of mine read Gill Deacon's book, There's Lead in Your Lipstick, and she kind of awakened me to the kinds of toxins that are in everyday products that I don't know about. There's an intro and it kind of lists products that are not actually fully organic. And then I was scrolling down and saw Physicians Formula. My heart dropped into my stomach and I thought, damn, I just bought all these products thinking that I was buying something that was fully safe, but now I don't actually know if it's fully safe for me. So that was a disappointment. I do feel the need to use makeup on a daily basis just because I'm out every day, I'm at work, and I find it funny because women for the most part wear makeup every day, and sometimes we're told by guys, you don't need to wear makeup, but then the day that you don't wear makeup is the day when someone walks into the cafe I'm working at and says, oh, you look tired. Things like parabens, which they're preservatives, but I still don't know the lasting effects or what about them is detrimental. How do I know if something just says it's organic, if it's safe? And can any cosmetic company just put that stamp on their product? I hear about cancer all the time, and sometimes you can feel helpless because you don't know how to protect yourself from these diseases. And if an eyeliner can give me an eye infection after a week, what can it do over many, many years? It makes me feel sad that there's products that are directly linked to illness. It seems so black and white that this product can, over time, give you a disease. It should stop then. That's how I feel.
Gill Deacon is the Wonder Woman of green living. The book, Lead in Your Lipstick, is basically a guide to how you can live a more green life in every aspect.
I tested it, and it still holds true. The gift that this whole ordeal was for me was the ability to be in the midst of the craziest shit that can go on in all of our days. And it's incredibly overwhelming to be here with all of you. Every one of you was a huge part of what got my family and me through an unexpected and really tough time. And we feel, in many ways, it's very far behind us now. And I'm so happy to have just passed my 5-year milestone or 5-year anniversary or whatever. It was crazy times, but so now that I'm kind of here, I've put the budget behind me, and I'm very happy.
She's giving a voice to this area of organic products and their benefits. I trust her because I'm on the same page.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Hi, I'm Gracie.
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so tomorrow you're going to be telling me all about organic cosmetics.
Yes. I'm going to set you straight on all
You're going to set me straight for sure.
All right, to Gracie. Your Lipsticks has this growing team of supporters that are spreading the word, and it's amazing.
It's not just telling me all the reasons why products that I am using are bad. It's telling me what I can do to change it.
Solutions.
Yeah.
We all need solutions.
It was disappointing when I bought those products because I was interested in and thought that they were clean and thought that
That's what
I was
makes
making
me
a
mad
good
about
choice.
greenwash, is that people sometimes spend extra money, take extra time, and have that, oh good, phew, I'm doing the right thing. You know, there's that's just criminal to kind of mislead people that way. It really frustrates me.
Yeah, this final sale too. Can't return it.
Oh, such a drag.
Yeah.
I don't know what to blame for my cancer. All the makeup I've had put on me in television, I don't know if that's part of what caused my cancer. It might be. So this is my house. Come on in and we'll talk makeup. I don't know what to blame for my cancer. All the makeup I've had put on me in television, I don't know if that's part of what caused my cancer. It might be. There's all kinds of health concerns that we're recognizing and seeing more and more, and we're starting to look for explanations as to why these are increasing in our world. But I do know that it's changed how seriously I take what I put on my body and in my body. Where there's question and growing evidence from the research, I make more natural choices wherever I can. Is there any concern that people are going to read there's your lipstick and have some kind of revolution against Health Canada? I'm not worried about that. Parabens, in general, are used as preservatives, and they're the reason that you can grab an old tube of lipstick at the bottom of your purse or out of the glove compartment that you haven't used in ages, and it'll still work. They mimic hormones in the body and confuse the body and kind of throw your hormonal balance out of whack. There's no smoking gun that links any of these chemicals to any health result. We're seeing research all over the world in leading academic institutions investigating links between parabens and breast cancer tumors, between various chemicals and various health impacts. Organics, for me, buying products that are organic, wherever possible, plant-based in the case of makeup, makes more sense. I look better, I feel better, and I feel better in my mind knowing that I make choices that avoid those chemicals.
I'm awakened now to wanting to eventually have a makeup bag that I can trust.
All right, so let's see that makeup bag.
Okay. These are the things I use on a daily basis. This is my mascara.
What is this
That's a
pointy
new
thing?
one.
Organic wear?
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about yesterday that I thought was organic, but it turned out to be one of the greenwashing.
I was gonna say, you know, when I saw this, I
so
thought, oh, the green leaf. My greenwash bells went off. Oops. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
You know, it's interesting from the year, I think it was 2005 to 2007, the number of products using the word organic in a label packaging claim grew by 273%. They use the word organic as part of their labeling and their packaging without actually having the certification. Yeah. So there may be some organic ingredients in here.
Yeah.
There may be fewer synthetic chemicals that you should worry about in here, but it's still effectively greenwash. The tricky thing is that a lot of these makeup bag products don't come with an ingredient list on the liner
Yeah, it was
tube or on the
nowhere
lipstick
on the
tube?
box either.
It wasn't? The
No.
ingredients weren't listed?
It said on the side, paraben free.
Paraben free is interesting because parabens have kind of been getting a lot of buzz lately. The awareness of the concerns around parabens has been growing. The U.S. National Institutes of Health, the U.S. Cancer Institute, they classify parabens as endocrine disrupting and potential carcinogen. The companies have become aware of that, so there's a lot of paraben free, but there's not a lot of understanding as to what is replacing the parabens as preservatives and whether that's going to be the next chemical that we need to be concerned about. So paraben free, again, it's a little greenwashy when you hear that kind of talk.
Hi, ladies. I noticed you've been standing here a while chatting.
Hey.
My name's Renee. Is there anything I can help you with?
We were just looking at some of the ingredient lists, and it's an interesting one because it is, we were saying, it is better. It moves the bar for sure in the right direction. We were just looking at some of the ingredients on here, and you know, a lot of these are synthetic petrochemicals. You know, propylene glycol. Well, a lot of these that you can't even pronounce. The lipstick too. There's sort of you know, yellow 5, red 33. Those are synthetic chemical colorants to create the pigment in the lip color. So they're
better than some, but not quite
That's
there
right.
yet. So moving in the right direction.
That's right.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
I do see the list is huge.
It's a long list.
I hate it. I just have to say that. The product sucks. Like, truly, like, it's not what they say it is. And it's a bunch of lies. Looking at the list of ingredients, like, it's a bullshit. It's horrible.
Control is very powerful, and people want to feel like they have control over their bodies and their health, and sometimes we don't. So if it makes it easier for people to say, I know that I'm putting natural ingredients in my body on a day-to-day basis, and that helps them to feel like maybe they have some ounce of control, then that is important. If someone were to present to me a study that proved that Gill Deacon's book was not true and all the information in it was false or just wrong, then yeah, I would question it.
You'd have to eat about 5 lipsticks a day in order to reach a lead level in your body. That would be a problem. The biggest risk is actually women putting on makeup in the car. They poke their eye with the mascara brush, and that's a very serious problem. I'm Joe Schwartz. I direct McGill University's Office for Science and Society. My background is in chemistry, and my job is to separate sense from nonsense for students, for the public, and for the media. Chemistry kind of looks like magic. For example, colorless solution turns gold. Well, that's not that interesting, but we can take that gold and change it just like that into blue. And we kind of miss that. Well, why don't we just remove that blue, drag it right out, and sprinkle back in the gold, and then we'll put in the blue. But chemistry isn't magic, it's science, and it requires an explanation. The yellow color is actually iodine. Iodine reacts with starch in the solution. That gives you the blue color. A subsequent reaction destroys the iodine, so the color disappears. As more iodine forms, the color comes back. So what we now have is science. I'm going to Toronto for a book tour to introduce my new book, Is That a Fact? Cosmetics are very, very complex entities. Some of them are made up of hundreds of different compounds. By and large, there is no accumulation. But there may be some that will last longer than others. But to me, it's a non-issue because these things are very well researched.
So I've recently gotten familiar with Gill Deacon's book.
Jill's book is basically about lead in lipstick. I did this calculation. You'd have to eat about 5 lipsticks a day in order to reach a lead level in your body, that would be a problem. Lead is a naturally occurring element. And many of the compounds that are used to make lipstick, of course, originate in the ground. And because we have tremendous analytical capabilities today, we can find things down to the parts per trillion level. It's not a surprise that you find some lead in there. The question is how much.
I got introduced to the world of organic cosmetics and I hadn't been that familiar with it. So I had my makeup bag looked through with Jill and she kind of talked to me about some of the chemicals that may be in my cosmetics and the effects of those.
Well, science doesn't work in terms of sides.
Yeah.
Science works based upon facts. Either
Right.
something is so or is it not so. I'm not sure exactly what is meant by the term organic cosmetic. It doesn't have any scientific meaning. Especially if someone is struck down by some illness, they start looking to see, what could possibly have caused it. And if you've been exposed to a lot of cosmetics, then of course you take a look and see what is there.
When I spoke to her, one of my biggest questions was about parabens because in my little knowledge about organic cosmetics, parabens have kind of been the most advertised toxin.
If you go by the sort of the activist view, and you see a lot of that on the internet, you'll focus in on things like parabens, which is a preservative that is commonly used in cosmetics. And that has sort of become a boogeyman. And preservatives are put into cosmetics not on the whim of a manufacturer. I've never met a manufacturer who has said, gee, I don't think we've been spending enough money on our products. Let me put in some useless chemical that can harm my customers. I've never met anyone like that. You have to remember that any time that you apply cosmetic, think of what you do when you put on a cream. You reach into the jar, you put it on your face, you reach back into the jar. Now you have put bacteria from your face into that jar. And that is a perfect medium for bacterial growth. It has a lot of moisture in there. It's got the food that bacteria love. And parabens is one that has a very long history of use because it's very effective. It actually is a substance that is found in nature. Most people don't know that. Blueberries contain parabens. It also happens to be the sex attractant of the dog. If a female dog is in heat, the reason that all the males in the neighborhood know about this is because they're smelling the para-hydroxymethylbenzoate, which is the parabens. Now, the reason that there is this concern over it is because of a paper that was published by a researcher in England at the University of Reading, which actually was a very, very poor quality paper in which she looked at breast tumors and she sampled them and she found parabens. But she never sampled any other tissue. And she never sampled any people who did not have breast cancer. And had she done that, she would have found that it is there as well, because we are exposed to these chemicals in many ways, in cosmetics, in our food supply, and as I said, even in blueberries, So we all expect to have some of it in our body. And when subsequent studies were done, it was shown that there is in fact no link between using parabens and breast cancer. So I'm not at all concerned about parabens. I'm more concerned about cosmetics that don't have preservatives, because then you are open to infection. And the scientific literature has all kinds of reports of people developing terrible infections from using products that don't have preservatives. The biggest risks with cosmetics are not what people think. The biggest risk is actually women putting on makeup in the car. That's what causes the most problems. They poke their eye with the mascara brush, and that's a very serious problem. And that's the biggest risk. Nobody talks about that. Nobody thinks that they're going to drop dead from putting on a face cream. What they're concerned about is the consequences over 30, 40 years. There's massive information available on cosmetics, and it's an industry that is self-regulated, but it's very well self-regulated, and people do poke fun at that because they say, well, how can you trust an industry to regulate itself? But I think the motivation here is to make sure that they're selling safe products, because cosmetic manufacturers live under the Damocles sword of lawsuits, and they want to avoid that at any cost. So they're scrupulous about what they put into their products. In Canada, we actually have something called the hot list of chemicals that the government suggests be limited in cosmetics, and by and large, they go by that. Generally, what people worry about is really not the acute reaction. I mean, nobody thinks that they're going to drop dead from putting on a face cream. What they're concerned about is the consequences over 30, 40 years of using a product that might have a trace amount of some chemical that in the laboratory has hormone-like properties. So, we in the scientific community are put in a position where activists say, prove that it is safe before you put it on the market. Well, this is a naive requirement because nothing can be proven to be safe. The only thing that science can do is measure risk versus benefit. You need to look at the science behind it. And you have to know who it is that you are listening to and recognize that environmental groups have agendas just like companies have agendas. And they also need to raise money. And their agenda basically is to keep fears alive because that's what keeps the money coming in. And one of the most important things in life is knowing what to worry about. I certainly worry about smoking. I think that we absolutely have to do something about that. I worry a great deal about the sugar in our diet. Cutting down soft drink consumption, far, far more important than worrying about trace amounts of lead in lipstick.
To the point that there's just a tiny amount that they put in each product. That's true. We brush our teeth every day. We shampoo our hair every day. We spray perfume every day. I mean, these are things we come into contact with every single day. In the case of lipstick, multiple times. So those tiny amounts accumulate in the body. And that's what scientists call the chemical body burden. And you can put a drop in a bucket for 40 years. And I was 42 when I got cancer. Was it a 42 years of drops in the bucket that finally overflowed? I don't know.
Well, I don't want to diss Jill because she's very honest about what she does. She's honestly mistaken.
The reason why I believed her story was because it was personal. And I've had illness in my family, and I know that my mom had a stroke when she was in her late teens, and it wasn't until very recently, about 6 years ago, that we found out that the reason she had that stroke was from a rare blood clotting disease. And then she got sick later due to that blood clotting disease, but we didn't know that disease rooted to that stroke. On a personal level, that's how I related to it, and that's kind of why Gill Deacon's story spoke to me. I thought that Dr. Joe was an incredibly kind, warm man and incredibly informative as well. He was very knowledgeable. Every question I asked, he had a billion more answers than I could have hoped for. I was scared about the stuff that I have been putting on my face and didn't really know what it might in the long term do to me. So when I heard him say that those studies aren't actually reliable, it's kind of a relief. I have found out about organic products and their ingredients, and now I'm smarter about label reading. And I've also talked to a doctor who has told me that if I don't buy organic things, it doesn't mean that I'm going to get cancer. I don't want to feel scared every time I pick up something off the shelf, so it was kind of nice to know that maybe I don't have to be scared.